In the bush, the birds of prey dominate the skyline. In Nairobi, skyscrapers attest to the thriving economy of the capital. London taxis are a throwback to the days of British colonial rule. And another legacy of empire is the sport of rugby union. Once the white man's sole preserve, but now a truly global game. And it is Nairobi which is the host for the second Tusker Safari Sevens. Leo Williams welcomes the teams.
I have, on behalf of my colleagues in the Rugby World Cup and on behalf of my bosses at the International Rugby Board, have great pleasure in being here. I already feel very welcome. It's my duty to officially declare the tournament open, and I do that now. May the ball bounce kindly for each and every one of you, and make sure you enjoy the tournament. Thank you.
As in last year's inaugural tournament, the venue is the East Africa RFU ground on the Ngong Road, and the matches were played over the weekend of the 28th and the 29th of June. 20 teams are divided into 4 pools of 5, with the top 2 from each pool going through to the quarterfinals. In Pool A, Public School Wanderers won the first Safari Sevens, and they began their defence with a comfortable win against the Uganda Wasps. Here's the first try for the Wanderers, a fine solo effort from Toby Watson. And after a few capricious bounces of the ball, skipper Dave Millard rounds off a successful opening for the British team. In their second outing against Reunion, it was more of the same for Wanderers, with Toby Watson getting on the score sheet again. Well, Reunion came back with a try of their own, but from the restart kick, the ball goes straight to Mike Friday, who dots down unopposed. So 2 out of 2 for the defending champions, while in their next game, Reunion came up against Shujaa, the Kenyan third team. Plenty to shout about for the home crowd, and here's Steve Kai showing a clean pair of heels. But the Kenyans didn't have it all their own way, and here's a lovely break by Jean-Denis Dufel. Rounded off in spectacular style by Dodi Grontier. Not quite enough for the Islanders, though. Now let's look at Public School Wanderers in their third match against the South African Airways Rainbows. A great start for the Rainbows. This was a much more physical match than many at this year's event. But eventually, it's the powerful running of Toby Watson who again gets the Wanderers on the board. Try number 2 for the Wanderers. Dave Millard starting events from his own 22. And a nice spin pass out wide from Andy Waller, who gets the ball back here and makes a lot of space. They're up to the opposition 22 now. And from this situation, Waller looks like he might go all the way. But ranging up outside is Chris Tarbuck. Taken on by Dave Millard. And there's that man, Toby Watson, to finish it all off again.
Toby Watson for his second try.
4 out of 4 for Wanderers, and they qualified at the top of Pool A. Also going through, Rainbows, who won their other 3 encounters. Pool B next, and the English side Cumbria were the favourites to head it, but let's have a look first at Uganda against the Exiles. Uganda got on the board first, thanks to this fine run from Leonard Werey. But the Exiles came straight back with this scorching dash by Werey's opposite number, Justin Larby. A very popular try, that one. And now the winner, which came from this very well judged kick. David Lukenya chases back for Uganda, but he's no match for David Mwemwa, who clinches the match for the Exiles. Next up, our first view of another British side, Brigands, who proved to be too strong for Swaziland, who are wearing the quartered jerseys. Gareth Morris with the interception, and it's the Brigands' captain Brian Davis who rounds it off under the posts. Davis involved again in this movement, which eventually reaches the number 8, Hayden Gillard, and he's got too much pace for the Swazis. So a comfortable win for the Brigands, but their next encounter against Cumbria was a much closer affair. Cumbria in the blue shirts pinning the Brigands down under their own posts, but now some magic from Peter Roberts and the deadlock is broken. This was the first try of the second half, and it brought the scores level at 14-all. And as you can see, energy conservation is very important in a game that can be as exhausting as sevens. Cumbria come back quickly though, with another piece of individual skill from Robert Hogan. And with time almost up on the clock, Cumbria now lead by 21 points to 14. But a captain's contribution from scrum half Brian Davis, which was converted, tied up the scores. And that's the way it stayed. They couldn't separate them on the field, and it was the same story on the log, with Brigands and Cumbria going through to the quarterfinals from Pool B, and Cumbria's captain talked about a tournament of differing outlooks.
Well, we can cope a lot better on the whole with the white teams, such as the public school boy second team, the Brigands, who although that was the closest game as we drew it, but we always knew where they were because they play exactly the same game as us. The African teams play a completely different game to us. It's a lot more sort of hurried, relying on their fast men to run it round.
Into Pool C, and a typical example of what James Cartnell was talking about, African rugby at its most expressive. A big win for the Scorpions, and here are two of the tries from the Kenyan second team. The first set up by this pass from skipper Talbot and Nyango, and scored by Victor Minor. And the second, a strong solo effort by Onyango. Next up, a Zimbabwean side weakened by the fact that there was a test match against Italy being played in Harare over the same weekend. Tanzania opening the scoring from this strong run by Tim Ward. But after that, it was very much one-way traffic. Good ball handling skills from the Zimbabweans. Bunny McFadden involved at the beginning of the move, and he's the man who now finishes it off. The captain of Zimbabwe showing he's got a little bit of pace. big number 8 is Blessing Musenda, and he gets things going for the second try, finding Arnold Takawira out on the right, and another one-sided game ends. Zimbabwe's next match, though, was a closer contest. They changed their shirts, but they still had too much to offer for Pirates. Here's Arnold Takawira racing in again. Brendan French makes the next one, with the scoring pass going to Charlton McNabb. But Pirates showed that they could play a bit as well, with an expansive move to bring the curtain down on the Pool C matches. Setting it up from deep defence, keeping the ball alive very well indeed, and this is the run that sets up the try. It's Steve Larkins offloading to Simon Stone. But it wasn't enough for Pirates, who came third in the log behind Zimbabwe and Scorpions. At the bottom of the log, King Cobras there were from New Delhi, and it was a sharp learning curve for them, but they will get better in the future. Pool D featured the Kenyan first team, who very quickly established themselves as one of the favourites to take the title. As you can see from this headline, the players were extremely confident, and they did not disappoint. The opening match against Mauritius was one-way traffic. This is Paul Marunga, showing that he's got 2 or 3 gears too many for the defence. And now Sami Kakame, the Kenyan captain, underlining his side's superiority. Well, Bristol University have been one of the strongest student sides in Britain for many years, and they were much too good for the Seychelles. Ben Harvey getting their first try, and Harvey also heavily involved in the second. There he is, sprinting down the right, makes himself available, a brilliant pass behind his back, and Ed Orgi is the man on the end of it. Well, they say it's a hell of a life in the French Foreign Legion, and that's how it must have felt for the Frenchmen as Bristol again showed their paces in their next match. Richard Marsh gets this one, and the students proving to be a very powerful side, and at this stage of the tournament many people might have expected them to be in the final. Clear winners of the log, having handed out the only defeat for Kenya, whose captain Sami Kakane looks ahead to the quarterfinals.
Unlike last year when I got injured in the first game, this tournament I've managed to keep on going till the second day. We're just hoping for the best now.
Well, a few one-sided games in the pools, but now it's very much strength against strength. The first quarter-final pits the defending champions, Public School Wanderers, against the hosts. It's the Wanderers who get the game going, and Kenya looking to start something from deep inside their own half. But it all goes horribly wrong, and the penalty here is for the Kenyan players diving over the ruck. Mike Friday picks up the ball, and he's gone. Kenya's first try came from the tournament's record try scorer Paul Marunga, who shows here that he's not only quick but very elusive. And that try coming on the end of a fine burst by Jeff Tolo. And it was Marunga who clinched the match for the Kenyans to end Public School Wanderers' hopes of a successful defence. And by this stage, Marunga was a real hero for the 4,500 people who had packed into the ground. So could Wanderers' second team succeed where the seniors had failed in the second quarter-final against Scorpions? Nice use of the ball by Peter Roberts, who is involved a second time in the movement, and he sets up the opening try for Hayden Gillard to grab the early lead.
The scorer, Hayden Gillard.
Talbot and Yango sets up this riposte for Scorpions, and the try scorer is Peter Gotha. But the Brigands' ball skills are their most telling weapon. And it's Gillard who duly gets the winner after this beautiful tap pass. And that try put the British side into the semi-finals.
Another try there for Hayden Gillard, the number 8.
Quarter-final number 3 was a spirited affair between Cumbria and Zimbabwe. And it was the British team who were on the score sheet first. Some super support play. A good strong run here. And eventually it's Robert Hogan who gets his team on the board. But Zimbabwe had a pacey number 8 of their own. And this is Blessing Nuzenda running the length of the field. Being cheered all the way. Well, a real comedy of errors develops here as the match went down to the wire. And eventually, it's Richard Robinson's try which clinches the semi-final berth for Cumbria.
Richard Robinson with the try for Cumbria.
And the last quarter-final was also a cracker, and as the sun came out, so did the skills of the South African Airways Rainbows. 2 tries for Bristol in the first half, but from the restart kick for the second half, this lovely break by Marius Dobson, and Gareth Berger is the man who gets across for the try. This tap penalty produces something of a gift for Edwin Rose, and that levelled the scores. And with time running out, some great tenacity, keeping the ball alive. Randall Koopman flicking it out wide, and Eugene Meyer racing in for the winner. Freddie McCokey is the delighted manager cheering his men on. So the 4 semi-finalists providing a great mix. Archie Evans is the Cumbrian manager, and he was delighted with his team and also with the organisation.
Everything's tremendous, Archie. Whatever we require is there, and I see no faults with it at all. I'm very impressed. And I was last year, and I am again this year for sure.
The hosts Kenya and SAA Rainbows representing Africa, and Cumbria and Brigands from Britain. And in the first semi-final, Brigands' major problem is to overcome not just the 7 Kenyans on the field, but a fiercely patriotic crowd. Jeff Tolo's kick and chase try warns the Brigands what to expect. Well, at least some of the crowd wanted Brigands to get back into the game, and this was their attempt at doing so. But Sammy Kakami is the man who really makes them pay for flinging the ball around with a certain amount of gay abandon, and he's got too much pace for the defence, and pace is what Kenya are all about. The second half was more of the same, and this is Felix Ocheng throwing out the long pass to Kakami. Lovely hands from the skipper, and there's that flaring pace again. like a matador with a bull, and Kenya are through to the final. Well, the second semi-final was a real nip and tuck affair, with the lead changing hands several times. This is the South African Airways number 6 Randall Koopman getting in for the Rainbows, and that gave the scratch side from South Africa a 2-point lead. And it looked as if they were going to be the team to go through to the finals. The hooter has now gone. The referee is allowing this movement to reach its conclusion. Some really tenacious stuff from the North Country men. And right at the end, Matthew Cockett steals the match for Cumbria, and they are through to meet Kenya in the final. So with that tight finish, Kenya will be strong favourites for the final, and it's their manager who looks back at the tournament.
The level of playing has gone very high. It's much better than it was last year. For my team, that is that last year we came in with no experience at all, not knowing, and nobody knowing what's going to happen, how we compare with the other teams from outside. But since the 47s last year, we have compared ourselves, we have learned from the other teams. Our trip to Scotland, to Dubai, has prepared us well. And this time, we're much more prepared than we were last year, and our levels of playing is very high.
Well, before the final, let's look at the plate tournament and the final of that between Public School Wanderers and Bristol University. Your commentator is David Round-Turner.
Number 10 there is skipper of Wanderers, David Millard. Played for the Barbarians in England. He's also a member of the Scottish 7 squad. And the referee, Mr. Tony Rowlands from Wales. The ball taken now by Mark Denny of Wanderers, of Bristol University, making a determined run. In fact, that is Alan Jim Jenner. We have to wait to see if the referee has awarded the try. Yes, he has. Tapped back by Bristol, away to the fly half. In comes Mark Denny again. Tries to weave his way through. Ben Harvey. Denny's away. And quickly through, he gets the quick ball through, but this man is held. Oh, and the try is awarded. David Jackson goes off. Tarbuck held, trying to get rid of it. Hurls a rather optimistic pass back, which is collected by Michael Friday, looking for a way round it, trying to outwit Mark Denny. You'll have to get up early in the morning to do that. And a quick overhead pass there, taken in by David Graham. Picked up now by Peter Roberts. Peter Roberts, who scored tries in this competition yesterday, dots it down for another try. So Peter Roberts will be pleased with himself for that one. Looking for the ball now, and there it comes away. And a penalty awarded to Wanderers for Bristol University holding the ball. Graham, Millard, Roberts again. Roberts on the outside. Lonnie Henry to beat, and he beats him quite easily. So Peter Roberts in for his second try.
So Wanderers consoling themselves for missing out on the semi-finals with a win in the plate final, while in the bowl final, Uganda beat Shuja 21-15. Shuja, the Kenyan third team, showing that Kenyan rugby has really come on in this second year of the Tusker Safari Sevens. But let's now go to the main event, the final of the Tusker Trophy. Well, Kenya lost to Bristol University in the pool matches on Saturday. But of all the teams in Nairobi, they were the ones who learned most from their mistakes, and they grew as a team throughout the 2 days. In the final, they were much too good for Cumbria, and this is Jeff Tolo getting the first try of what was to prove an exciting afternoon for this very patriotic crowd. Tolo is involved again in this turnover. Lovely stepping from him, and it's Paul Marunga who gets away for try number 2. Well, now we see the value of quick scrum ball as Kakami puts the ball in and gets it away to Steve Kachuki, and he's in the clear. And at that stage it was all over really, turning into something of a rout, but Cumbria got a consolation score thanks to this clean break by Richard Robinson. The referee struggling to keep up with the pace of this final. That was converted to take the scores to 21-7 in Kenya's favour, and now some lovely ball skills from them. The little dart there, and it's Kakani, the captain, rounding things off. And there's a rather lugubrious looking manager of the Cumbrian side who I think knows that he's run into something of a Kenyan whirlwind. Felix Ocheng with the pickup and a standing start, but look at that pace. Too much for Cumbria. The Nairobi Wave celebrates for the Kenyans. There was a beer festival going on next door, and that helped to swell the numbers during the 2 days of the Tusker Safari Sevens. And the coup de grace for Kenya is this spell of handling. And a fine try for the replacement, Ben Matibe. That one really brought the house down, and Kenya convincing winners. There's the wonderful trophy, and the Kenyan team acknowledging the applause of a 4,000 plus crowd at the East Africa RFU ground. It's the end of 2 super days of rugby and very much the start of something big. Kenya are the winners of the Tusker Safari Sevens for 1997. And let's look back on an African occasion to remember.